Located in County Offaly is one of the longest continually inhabited castles in Ireland. Leap Castle is thought to have been built in the early 1500s by the O'Bannon clan. The O'Bannon clan were the secondary chieftains under the ruling of the O'Carroll clan. Before that, the site was used by Druids for initiation ceremonies. The castle has been home to much bloodshed and violence over the centuries. The name Leap comes from the legend that two O'Bannon brothers were contesting the chieftainship of their clan. The only way to settle this argument was a display of strength and bravery. They were to both jump off the rocky outcrop where the castle was to be built. The survivor won the honor and right to be chieftain. Thus the castle was built, fueled by blood and death. Leap Castle was used as a stronghold of the O'Carroll clan. It was used to guard the pass through the Slieve Bloom Mountains, and has been said that no castle was more well fortified than Leap. The O'Carrolls were a fierce and brutal people, bent on domination. They were known for their ruthless tactics, often killing others and each other on the path to supremacy. The O'Carrolls called Leap Castle their home until it was wrenched from their hands in 1642 by an English soldier of the Cromwellian forces named John Darby. The castle has been subject to much remodeling and restoration over the years, most of the remodeling having been done by the Darbys. The Darbys inhabited Leap Castle from 1642 until its burning in 1922, where Leap Castle was the target for an uprising and was looted and burnt to an empty shell in 1922. Here it lay dormant until it was purchased in 1974 by an Australian, Peter Bartlett. This saw the awakening of the ancient building. The work is now being continued by the current owners, the Ryans.
Well, hey, everybody, welcome back.
Hey, everyone.
I'm Logan.
And I'm Nicole.
And this is Generation X Paranormal. Guys, this is it. This is a big one.
Not
it's
ending,
not it, right.
But this is a good one.
This is a big one. This is this is one of those where, gosh, when we first started dating, we talked about a place like this.
Yes.
And we talked about this specific place.
Yes,
we were watching on Ghost Hunters, right?
Way back when, the very beginning. Jason and Grant and Dustin all went there. And I just remember thinking that would be the coolest place to ever get to actually see it and be there. I honestly never thought I would.
Neither did I.
I never thought I would. It was like one of those bucket list locations that you put on the list, but you're like, it's out of reach.
And of course, we were talking about the
Leap Castle. Yes.
Yeah. Guys, this is just one of those places that almost needs no introduction. I think if you're in the paranormal space, hell, even if you're just not, I think
most
every
people know
paranormal
about it, yeah.
show has covered this place. Its reputation precedes itself.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
But you just don't really get it until you're there.
I know. And we'll talk about this here in a bit, but yeah, I was worried because you can sometimes build things up in your mind, especially when you've followed something for a very long time and you expect it to be a certain way. Sometimes those things can let you down in a way, but not at all. It exceeded the expectations that I had. Other things, like I pictured certain things were a little different, but yeah. It was Leap.
Yeah, and not to tip our hat too much, guys, because we'll you're going to see and hear all of it, but I got to think this is probably the best evidence maybe we've ever gotten. It's awfully close.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say best evidence. Not best experience,
No.
but best evidence.
Yeah. And
Yes.
for those listening, I think there's going to be plenty for you also listening.
Mm-hmm.
And for you watching, there's definitely stuff for you watching.
Yes.
And maybe, just maybe, this place will make a believer out of you yet. I mean, it's wild.
I don't know how it could not.
I know. But, we kind of talk about why. Well, let's talk about why. Why is it so well known? So paranormal claims.
There's a lot of them.
There are a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. And, I'll just start by saying, like, if you have not watched Ghost Hunters, like way back when, you should really go back and watch that episode, because part of what we're going to talk about, they experience a couple things, which are just, I remember at the time thinking, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best episodes they ever had.
Right.
And we'll get into a little bit, and I'll mention those as I'm talking about those things.
Sounds
okay.
good.
So there's some specific ghosts per se that they see, that the different families have seen. So we're going to talk about those first. Okay. So there's a governess or nanny, same word.
Yeah.
That is seen in the main hall and is often seen with two little girls. And the names of the little girls, I think, are Emily and Charlotte.
Right.
Okay. Which we'll get to them later. Now, guests have reported being touched or having someone brush past them. Okay. And the current owner, Sean Ryan, okay, him and his wife own it. So this is a friend of Sean's, was having lunch at Lep one day, and both him and another female guest sitting near the fire saw a proud lady in Victorian attire on the wall diagonally across the main hall.
Okay.
So they saw that. And I know that on the show, Spooked Ireland, they actually, I think it was, they were shown a picture of the shadow of a woman.
Yeah, actually, I do remember that. Yeah.
So this is a common thing. Now, after discussing what both of them saw, they were like, both saw it, and they started discussing it. The neighbor, I guess, was a skeptic, and he's like, never mind. Which I could see that with this place. Yeah. Now, speaking of the girls that are seen with the nanny or the governess or whoever this woman may be. So Emily is, they think, to be aged around 11 or 12, and Charlotte around 6 or 7 years of age. Yeah. They are mainly seen playing in the main hall and running up the stairwell. They are believed to have lived at the castle during the 1600s and are thought to be the last of the O'Carrolls or the first of the Darby family.
That's pretty far back.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's very far back. So that's why they're not sure what time period that they come from. Now, Emily, they say, died after falling from the castle's southeastern battlements. And people outside the castle have reported seeing a girl falling off the castle roof and disappearing before hitting the ground. The sound of a child's scream suddenly cutting out has been heard numerous times by the Ryans. So the current owners have heard this. Like a scream, and then it just disappears.
Interesting.
Okay? Charlotte has been seen with a deformed right leg that is almost totally turned like backwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And drags backwards behind her, running after the older girl. So maybe this girl was deformed and she's pulling the leg.
Okay.
Is
So
the way
maybe
I
not
mean
from
it.
an accident, just
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I doubt it completely turned backwards, but I think what they mean is that it's dragging behind her, so it's like really far, probably out of the hip joint.
Probably polio maybe back then.
Well, I mean, it could have been anything if it's that time period. Now, I don't know how they got these names. I don't know if investigators have got these names or they found this in the history. I looked for Emily and Charlotte and couldn't find them, but that's, early.
Sure. I mean,
that you almost have to be in Ireland,
right?
And stuff like
even then,
and even then, yeah. They didn't keep good records. So, but these are just the reports. There's also been an old man that's been seen numerous times sitting peacefully by the fire in the main hall.
Okay.
There's shadowy figures so the priest's house is kind of adjacent to the castle. Like when you first walk up to the left-hand side, that old dilapidated building right there, that's the priest's house. Yeah. So they see shadowy figures there and they hear chanting coming from the building.
Interesting.
So this is a report of a room. Okay. And they know about this room because of a previous owner wrote about it.
Okay.
But they don't know if it's a separate room from this other thing that I'm going to speak about, or if it's supposed to be the same room. So just keep that in mind.
All right.
But they call this the murder hole room. So the story goes that there's a stain on the floor that comes from the blood of a man that was stabbed there by his brother.
Okay.
Okay. They say two O'Carrolls quarreled over the ownership of the castle. The room had been disused for 50 years or more when they closed it up, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And the stain, I guess they've planed it off the boards, like sanded it down like several times. And every time like it disappears, it always comes back up through the floorboards.
Jeez.
Now, I don't know scientifically with, how things...
Well, yeah, wood is porous.
Yes.
And blood is a protein, and it could...
If you sand it down, it could just...
I don't know
seep
about
back
that
up to the surface.
Oh, though that's a long time.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And blood theoretically over time doesn't show red. It's usually
it'd be like a dark color,
like a brown, or
Yeah.
like a. I think even.
Well, they're not saying it's red. They think it's blood.
It's interesting.
But it is interesting. Like it's like disappears, and then within a few hours it comes back up. So I was trying to think scientifically, is there a reason for that? Like, it's not supernatural. It's just,
I mean,
it could come back up through the surface.
I gotta say, there's got to be something to that. I don't know if there are better scientists than me and are listening or watching. Please let us know.
Yeah.
But I would think if it was a lot sooner than that, but it's an awfully long time ago. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out.
There's also been a woman that's been seen and heard since the time that the Darbys lived there. She's believed to have been murdered by an O'Carroll. So all this is probably passed down information over the years that they've got recorded in old documents, and that's where they're getting this information from. Because there's been occupants of the castle that have written down when things have happened, or they've heard, or they've seen things. So this is, I think the majority of this comes from that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the Bloody Chapel. So the Bloody Chapel is the very top of Lepp Castle.
Sure is.
Okay, and there's a reason it has that name, which we're going to get into. Okay, but it's at the very, very top.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So people that pass the castle at nighttime have reported bright lights streaming out of the upper windows. Now, these windows do not have glass.
No, they don't.
This is open air. Okay.
Yeah,
open air windows.
They are very open.
Very tall open air windows. Okay. Now, this occurrence has been reported since the Darbys lived there. So since 1642. Okay. When the castle was left as a burnout shell, after it got burned in 1922, people even saw it after that. So nobody was currently living there.
There was no floors, too.
Right. Well, there would have been, if people were living there, there's an explanation. Oh, well, somebody was just up there with the light. But after it was burnt and no one was currently living there, people passing by the castle could still see the lights.
Imagine that.
Okay. Yes. So one of the most well-known of these entities that is seen is referred to as the O'Carroll priest. So it says, after the death of a man named Mulrooney O'Carroll in 1532, a fierce power struggle developed within the remaining O'Carroll family. Brother fought against brother to gain chieftainship. This happens a lot with this castle. Legend has it that an O'Carroll murdered his brother, and I'm wondering if this is the same room.
Right.
A priest, while performing a mass in the upper hall of the castle, but this could also be the Bloody Chapel, because there's a story about the Bloody Chapel too. Right?
Yep.
It is believed that the priest started the mass before the arrival of his brother, and this was considered to be a great insult. The angered O'Carroll then flew into a rage and slaughtered his brother where he stood. The priest has been seen on many occasions in the Bloody Chapel. The spirit has also been seen lurking on the stairway below and also leaving the chapel via the western door to the bartizan and down the northern stairs.
Okay.
So, when we talked about the murder hole room, and we talked about the Bloody Chapel and the brother killing the brother and the blood on the floor, I think it's all the same area. I think it's all the Bloody Chapel. I think the murder hole is what we're about to talk about, and I think it was all in that same area.
The murder hole.
The murder hole, yeah. So this next thing, if anybody knows Lepp Castle, this is the most famous story
Yep.
about this place,
Yep.
okay? And that would be the Oubliette. The Oubliette. So one of the more sinister features of the Bloody Chapel is the Oubliette.
Mm.
Just a French word, okay? It's a small chamber that's located in the northeastern corner of the Bloody Chapel. It is thought that the original use for these chambers was to store valuables.
Okay.
That's originally why they built it, okay? Because it's hidden.
Right. And there's only one way in and out of that thing, right?
Possibly.
Yeah. Yes.
But they were also used as a place to hide in the event of a siege. Like if somebody's attacking the castle, you could hide in there.
Mm-hmm.
The O'Carrolls, however, used this chamber for a more sinister purpose.
They sure did.
They modified the chamber to serve as a small dungeon where prisoners were thrown in, dead or dying. The entrance to the chamber is a narrow hole originally fitted with a form of a trapdoor. The name is derived from the French to forget. That's what oubliette means.
Yeah, and in Spanish it's olvida, so yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. Once someone was thrown into the oubliette, they were simply forgotten about. The O'Carrolls were said to be an extremely cunning and brutal clan, stopping at nothing to achieve domination. Legends tell of several occasions where the O'Carrolls would employ other clans as mercenaries to kill off nearby threats. Upon completion of the job, the mercenaries were invited back to Lepp for a celebratory feast. Pay attention to this. Unfortunately for the mercenaries, the feast was poisoned and their throats were cut.
Jeez.
The corpses were then thrown into the oubliette. 39 of the O'Neill clan are said to be disposed of in this fashion.
Jeez. Okay.
In 1599, another deadly deed occurred at Lepp. Charles O'Carroll, the last chieftain at Lepp, was at war with the Earl of Tyrone and hired the McMahon clan, or Mahone, I don't know how you say it, clan from Monaghan as mercenaries. After they had fought for him, the O'Carrolls held a feast. They were then murdered in their sleep. The McMahon clan are said to haunt the Great Hall at Lepp Castle. So this oubliette was just...
Yeah.
And another thing that's not really... I didn't really talk about is they would also throw them in there alive. So there was like spikes down there.
Yes.
And if they just didn't, they just throw them in and they fall on these spikes and just lay there and die. And they wouldn't even come. I mean, they didn't come back to check on them. Obviously, they didn't care. Right.
And legend has it that some people would, if they were given an option, if they weren't thrown, would actually dive in head first, hoping that it would end their suffering much quicker.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Now, during the occupation of Lepp by the Darbys, so that's the original the first family after the main clan, right? The oubliette was cleaned out and the contents removed during some of the renovations. They say that they took out 3 cartloads of skeletons. 3 cartloads, depending on how big that cart was. And they approximated that's about 150 bodies.
And that's just the stuff that they could find.
Yeah. Some believe that since they found this, an emotional shockwave was sent through the castle and the many spirits, including this next one we're going to talk about, were awoken from their dormancy. Now, talking about these mercenaries, the first thing we heard about when we heard this story, I was like, we thought of what? Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
And the Red Wedding.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm like, did this happen a lot in history or did they take that, because now if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, I'm not going to spoil anything necessarily for that. That's kind of a spoiler, but
not really.
Game of Thrones, you can tell they based a lot of it off of like ancient Ireland, ancient Scotland, things that went on, the way the clans worked and stuff like that. It's about kind of world domination in a way, their world. And the Red Wedding is precisely that. It's a trick. Like they brought them in for a feast and then they like killed the entire...
Yeah, it's like all your cast just goes.
Yeah, and there's stories about this happening in Scotland as well. That maybe we might have a future podcast on someday.
One may know.
Yes. So, I mean, I think it happened a lot, but this is something that they did a lot at Lepp. And if they did that and then just tossed them, I mean, they're probably not half of them weren't even dead, and they just tossed them in there. It's like the the person trash can for the castle.
It's so, and guys, when you go there, and you look at this thing, there is not a big passage down there. It's very narrow.
It's small.
Yeah. And if there's like 50 people you're killing all at once, what do you do they get in line?
Well, they're falling on top of bones.
Right. Exactly.
On top of bones. On top of bones.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we'll get to that a little bit later, just like walking up to it. And I actually, we'll mention this right now because I think it's funny is like when we first got up there and we walked around, we're going to show this picture because I thought it was funny, is like Mariah had went over and sat down by it, and I was taking pictures at the time, and I had taken a picture of her, and then she was sitting right in front of it.
Yeah.
And she wasn't like, neither one of us were thinking. I was just taking her picture, and she didn't smile on the first one. She's like, "I'll take it again." And then she smiled, and then after I took it, we'll put both these pictures up here. She's like, "I shouldn't have smiled in this picture. I'm sitting right in front of all these people." But looking down in there, it's very like shallow. It's not very deep, and you can barely see much. I mean, just from the hole, but it's right next to one of those very large windows, and it's just like, it gives you the creeps.
Yeah, especially when you know what it is.
Yes. So let's get to the very last, and this is probably, besides knowing about the Oubliette, this is the next thing that is the most popular.
Right.
Okay. And this is something that was brought up in the Ghost Hunters episode way back when. Okay. Which is the elemental.
Right.
They call the elemental. I mean, it could mean many, many different things. It could mean leprechaun. It could mean fairy. It could mean all fae type stuff. Yeah. All those things like imps. It could be all these different things, you know. So it's just one word to describe what they don't know what it is.
Right.
Okay.
And we laugh because imps was something that we were chasing the whole time we were out there. Chris loved his imps.
Yeah. Imps on the bus.
Imps on the bus.
And those that were on the trip will know what we're talking about.
Yep.
So this elemental. So one of the early beliefs about this is that it was actually awakened, or they say put there, but I would say awakened by the Druids long before the castle was built to protect the site used for initiations and Druidic magic.
Okay.
So it was like called forth to protect the land.
Yep.
And then the castle was built on top, and then all this other stuff happened, right? So if you think about it in that way, it was there to protect the land. And then a castle's built, and all these murders happened. People are killing each other for domination.
It's gonna be one pissed
It's
off
not going to be
elemental.
happy. It's there to protect the land and sacredness, and they're going against that. So then it bites back, basically, is what my thought was. Okay.
For sure, yeah, I agree.
Now, another theory is that the elemental was placed there by an invading force to burn the castle from the inside. The person responsible is thought to be Gerald Fitzgerald. Somebody had cruel parents. Gerald Fitzgerald, Earl of Kildare. I almost couldn't get it out.
My brother Daryl and my other brother Daryl.
He was a renowned magic practitioner and had attempted to take over the castle on several occasions. So almost like a curse.
All right.
Like he put it there as a curse. Okay. Now, local myths say that the elemental is the spirit of an ancient O'Carroll who died in the castle from leprosy. This is said to be the reasoning for the decomposing facial features and appalling stench that accompanies the presence of the spirit.
Okay. That makes sense, yeah.
The leprosy, right? I always think of Braveheart. Remember?
Yeah, that's right.
They had the leprosy and they,
God, imagine that stench. And then, of course, the Oubliette there, too.
Oh, God. Geez. No. Now, Mildred Darby. So she was one of the Darbys that lived there. And she was well known for writing things down and documenting hauntings in the castle. Okay. So when we talk about some of this stuff, it's quotes from her or writings of hers that she actually experienced these things. Okay. So Mildred Darby was said to have dabbled in the occult. Now, when they say dabbled in the occult, it could have been just what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Experiencing ghosts or trying to talk to them.
They probably think we were... Anyway.
Well, we would have been witches. Yeah. We would have been witches. Okay. Now, her activities focused on seances and automatic writing. Okay. And if you don't know what automatic writing is, a great reference is to go watch Cindy Kaza.
Yeah,
I
she
mean,
does
she's
quite a bit of it.
amazing.
And Tyler Henry does it too, right?
Yeah, he does it too. So it's just basically it helps them focus, and they don't necessarily aren't paying attention to what they're writing, but it just helps get their thoughts out.
Right.
It's a focus for them. Okay. Now, some think that it was her dabbling that either awoke or summoned the elemental. So she's responsible for bringing it forth. Okay.
Okay.
Now, it was around this time that the discovery in the Oubliette happened. Okay. Now, they think the huge release of the emotional energy linked to the spirits of the dead people in the Oubliette upon their discovery may have been enough to wake up this spirit.
That I definitely could see.
It was shortly after this that Mildred Darby would have a terrifying encounter with the elemental. Okay. Now, this right here is all in quotes of what she was saying. So I'm just going to speak this to you.
Okay.
So she says, "Suddenly, 2 hands were laid on my shoulders. I turned round sharply and saw, as clearly as I see you now, a gray thing standing a couple of feet from me with its bent arms raised as if it were cursing me. I cannot describe in words how utterly awful the thing was, its very undefinableness rendering the horrible shadow more gruesome. Human in shape, a little shorter than I am, I could just make out the shape of big black holes like great eyes and sharp features, but the whole figure, head, face, hands, and all, was gray, unclean, bluish gray, something of the color and appearance of common cotton wool. But oh, so sinister, repulsive, and devilish. My friends who are clever about occult things say it is what they call an elemental. The thing was about the size of a sheep, thin, gaunt, and shadowy in parts. Its face was human, or to be more accurate, inhuman, in its vileness, with large holes of blackness for eyes, loose, slobbery lips, and a thick, saliva-dripping jaw, sloping back suddenly into its neck. Nose it had none, only spreading, cancerous cavities, the whole face being a uniform tint of gray. This, too, was the color of the dark, coarse hair covering its head, neck, and body. Its forearms were thickly coated with the same hair, so were its paws, large, loose, and hand-shaped, and it sat on its hind legs. One hand or paw was raised, and a claw-like finger was extended ready to scratch the paint. Its lustreless eyes, which seemed half decomposed and looked incredibly foul, stared into mine, and the horrible smell, which had before offended my nostrils only 100 times intensified, came up to my face, filling me with a deadly nausea. I noticed the lower half of the creature was indefinite and seemed semi-transparent at least. I could see the framework of the door that led into the gallery through its body. So that description right there is terrifying, for one. But I can see in her description why they would say the man with leprosy, because the color of the skin, the decomposing, the smell, all that stuff. So, I mean, but now some of this other stuff, no. But who knows? Maybe it's a manifestation of what he was on Earth. I mean, I don't know. It could be a mix of a bunch of stuff. But I think that description is pretty interesting. And now going back to when the ghost hunters were there, I remember Grant smelled like we said, like rotting flesh. Remember,
rotting
and then
meat or something like that.
Dustin heard a hiss when they were in the bloody chapel, and then he actually got pushed.
He sure did.
And I remember I was like, "Oh my gosh," you know. And so I was like, "That's terrifying."
Right.
Now we were not at Lep at night; we were there during the day, but I can guarantee you that place takes on a different form.
Oh,
at
no,
night.
no question about it. And to know, we've met Dustin once, and we've talked to him, and he's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
And you get the sense not a ton really kind of shakes him. He's pretty well even kilter. That was not the case in this. It scared the crap out of him.
Yeah. Well, it would me too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So those are the claims about what's seen at Lep, and I'm sure there's a lot more that, you know, that we're not going to get into. It just, those are the big ones, and that's enough, really.
Sure is.
But there's a lot of history there. So, I mean, but the big thing is that elemental, because nobody knows what it is, like what is going on. And I do remember the other thing that ghost hunters caught that it was just so fascinating for me at the time is they were, I believe they were behind the castle out on the grounds. And remember they had,
They were in a golf cart.
They had the FLIR or something on.
It was a FLIR.
And they caught that tiny little figure walking through the grass.
Yep.
And I was like, I remember way back then, I was like, they caught a leprechaun.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm like, oh, that is so freaking cool.
Yep.
So I don't know. I wish we would have been able to walk on the grounds, but we were only there for a small amount of time. But, so those are the accounts. So we're going to get on now to the next part of what we've got to bring to you.
Get into this place.
So you cannot see it from the
No,
road.
you sure can't.
And so when Ronan pulled up to the road and like parked, I'm like, where is it? Because you expect to just see it, but it's behind this wall.
Right.
Right. So we have to get out of the bus and we walk and we go through the gates. But what's really cool is at the gates, it's got a tiny little sign that says left.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got a picture of it. So we're going to put up periodically some pictures. But you kind of like go through the gates and there's like a little house there. And you take a right and you walk. And we're like walking and I'm like, you still can't see it because there's trees and everything. And you come around the corner and there it is. It just opens up. I mean, you talk about a medieval castle. It just looms over you. And the other thing that was just amazing is these birds are flying around the top of the towers.
Yeah.
And some were crows, some were, I think, some of those magpies, but they were just circling the turrets. And I'm just like...
And you can hear it's all...
Yeah, you can hear it. And I'm like, oh, this is so freaking cool. And you can see like the part of the castle that I guess when it was burnt is just like falling down all over the place. And I'm just like, oh... God.
I kind of got the feeling of, the very beginning of Scooby-Doo when they're going, they see that castle and they're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got major Scooby-Doo vibes first getting there.
Agreed. And I also think it was like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Like a place I never thought I was going to get to see. I'm like, I'm actually here. And I had to just take it all in because it was almost too much.
Yeah.
And I just stood up there and looked up at the castle for a long, long time before we were some of the last ones that went through the doors. So I was just like...
For a second there, I'm like, are you okay? You just sort of stopped and I'm like, just keep filming you, I guess.
But you could just feel it. Like it just, the energy just pulsing off of this place. And I was like, I had to take it in for a moment.
Yeah.
So, we go through the doors and small little doors and we go in and you go into the main hall. And I don't know what to expect walking through the doors. But, all of us were in there. We had 20 some people.
26 was it?
Yeah, and there's big long tables in there. And so we're just all kind of packed in there. So it's kind of tight. But I know, and we'll play a couple of these things, but they welcomed us in and Sean Ryan starts telling us all about the history of the castle and May and him are playing music at some point in this. And I know they have a house cat that came over and said hello to Mariah, but I'm just kind of looking around and I can see behind, I know Chris was sitting over by Sean and behind him, cause I love plants and I love gardening. And behind him is this big open window room with all the plants hanging and I'm
like
just
a terrarium or something.
I gotta go in there later. I can't remember. But it was like a welcoming thing. He was telling about all the history. And then I know where we were standing was close to the front and off to the right hand side I can see the staircase that goes up. And I'm like, at that point I don't know where that staircase goes.
No.
From the outside, the castle looks huge. We don't know what direction anything is. When you watch these things and see pictures, you don't know exactly where everything's located. But I see this staircase and I'm like, that looks so old.
Right. And it's really kind of narrow and
these,
steep stairs.
And the stairs are so old that they're rounded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so cool.
I know.
So we kind of started in the main area and then we kind of were able to break off. So, Chris was first up the stairs and we were right behind him. We went up to the next level, basically is where we're going to start. Right. But before we start talking about our investigation here, we have a guest with us.
We do have a guest
to talk about our experience.
Yeah. And he's a good friend of the show, good friend of ours. and good friend of Chris's,
Mm-hmm.
and he's pretty well versed. He's met quite a few people and investigated with a lot of few people, but we're going to be talking with Alex Felix.
Yeah. Now, he's been a paranormal investigator and a tour co-host with the official ghost tours of Naperville. He's the co-founder of the paranormal group West Chicago Researching and Investigating and the Paranormal. He's also the founder and tour host for the Chicago Haunted Gangster Tour, which we have got to go see.
We do.
He did grow up in a haunted house in Chicago, and he had many paranormal experiences as a kid. And he's with us today.
He is with us today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so he was on the trip with us. Of course, he came with Chris as his assistant, you know, to help him out with hosting the tour. And so we got to know him really well during the tour and investigate with him. And he was right there with us at LEP and got to experience all these really cool things. So we're like, you know, we're going to bring him on and have him discuss his experience because he had different views of things than we did. So, and he's been very great about sharing some of his video with us that like he's got a different perspective than we do.
Sure
so
does.
We've got all that. He lent that to us for the podcast, so you guys can experience that as well. So you're going to be right there in it with us. So
you're embedded.
Yeah. So we're going to bring him on, and then we're going to talk about the first part of our investigation, which we started on the second floor, which is in what we would call the entertainment room.
Great
the
hall
great
entertainment
gallery room, something like that. Yeah. So let's talk to Alex.
Let's do it. Hey, Alex.
Hey, what's going, guys? Nice to be here.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So some of you may know or have heard of him because he is the gentleman who had the ginormous king beds in his room at the Kennedy Castle, which we'll put up here on screen because he ended up sending it to us, so we know that you can see it now. And he also sent us his throne, the throne room, which is just a weird thing to say to somebody, but I guess you guys already know about that anyway because it was in the last episode. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, welcome. So kind of getting off to a fresh start. You know, we get to this place and it's pretty amazing, but you know, you get all those crows and all that atmosphere, and yeah, you're first walking up there. What was your impression when you first got there, Alex?
Ominous.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was, I mean, you get off the bus, right? I mean, first of all, it was, for being Ireland and raining all the time, it was a nice day. We had sunshine.
Yeah, it was.
There. And then, obviously the weather got poor afterward, which worked in our favor. But,
right.
Yeah, I mean, just the castle itself, you look at something and you're like, yeah, this place is haunted. It's dilapidated. It's not upkept like some of the other touristy places, right? Yeah.
Right.
You know, when you look at it from the outside, it really doesn't look like much, right?
Right.
It's smaller than most other castles, right? So it's like, okay. I always go into places not expecting anything to happen, so that I'm never disappointed. Right. Okay. So, but being a sensitive, and I could tell I had a very uneasy feeling there the whole time I was there. Now, I had watched the episode the night before, right? Just to,
did you?
Yeah, just to kind of, remind me of some of the stuff that was happening there and everything, or that happened there with Chris being there on the show. But I try not to let it influence, what happens when I go there.
For sure.
But I like to have some sense of, history of the place, and I like to know what I'm getting into. In other words, so and it was really cool. I mean, the decor, it looked like. It wasn't like any other place we've been to. Like I said,
No.
it looked lived in. Okay, let's just say that.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's very much so lived in, and we're the same way. I think we had the advantage of we probably had seen that particular episode a few times, but we had seen it, so we kind of knew a little bit. But you're right, you don't get that first impression until you're
walking right up to it.
But it was really cool. We got to kind of go in there, and the owner's name is Sean, right?
Sean Ryan.
Sean Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to meet Sean. You kind of all, got to listen to him talk, and he was a really cool dude. But, very shortly after that, we kind of got turned loose.
Yes.
Which
is the best part.
The best part. Obviously, we lean quite heavily on Chris. Obviously, having been there, and we kind of took, as you would in this tour, took his lead on most of these things. So I think the first place we ended up going now, it's funny, and you'll probably see some of this, will put it on screen, of how you get up there. It's just this windy,
very tight, windy staircase that you have to step sideways to go up the stairs and hold on for dear life on both sides. Yeah. And it's dark.
Super dark.
Yeah.
It's not fluffy guy friendly all that much. But it is what it is. But anyway, we get up there and we go to the banquet room or banquet hall.
Yeah, whichever.
Yeah, and that place, Chris already had history there.
Yes.
So he kind of went up there with a certain mindset. He knew what he wanted to do. That's kind of what we did. We all sat around that banquet table.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think when you first got there, and kind of what was your impression?
Well, I walked in and I recognized it like immediately, like, because we've seen it on other shows, Ghost Hunters the first time,
right?
Long time ago.
Yeah,
and it was smaller than I expected, because when things are on TV and you see them, you always imagine them to be bigger, right? Mm-hmm. So it was smaller, but it was very medieval feeling.
Very much so.
Which is my thing. I love the medieval stuff. But I walked around and looked out the windows and just kind of took in the whole space. But very small. Very small. I expected it to be bigger. Especially you hear banquet hall, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
You think big open room, but that's TV's fault.
For sure. Well, and then, I'm a nerd. And I like playing Assassin's Creed. And for some reason, when I got in that room, I got this feeling of like that Assassin's Creed.
It did have that look, yeah.
It had all these tapestries and all
Game of Thrones look, too.
Yeah, that too, which that was more upstairs. But yeah, I was... Yeah, pretty much.
I always keep Harrison Ford in mind, and when he comes to the Scottish castles, I'm here to see the tapestries.
And if you are Scottish law, I am Mickey Mouse. I think that's how it went. I don't know, but yeah, we kind of get there and we do this sort of impromptu session. And man, it kind of just started off with a bang.
Yeah.
Chris had a lot of
we had a lot of different equipment out too, because everybody brought their equipment out. I don't even remember everything because it's not all in the shot. But I know we had cat balls out, and somebody had a K2 out. Mariah had her EDI sitting on the chair, which you'll see. We had an EMF candle, but it's not in the shot for most of it, unfortunately. I don't even know what all was out.
I had a little thermal camera that I set up somewhere, which,
okay.
Yeah, it was just basically to see, any anomalies. But I mean, it was during the day, so night vision equipment really wasn't an option.
No.
Point. So, like you usually see in most other shows anyway, which goes to show too that things happen in the daytime as well. So you don't necessarily have to
100%
at night.
Absolutely.
Mostly, like a witching hour or anything like that. I mean, it was broad daylight. I don't even know what time it was. It was like the afternoon, right? It's like 11.
It's like 4 or 5, I think, something like that.
No, it was earlier than that.
Was it?
I think we got there at like 3, maybe.
Okay.
Something like that. I think at the very end, Chris is checking the time and he's like, "Oh, it's almost 5:30 or something." Okay. So I think we had to be out there by like 6, maybe 5:36. I don't know.
So it was definitely daylight.
In that time period. Yeah. So afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who's done this long enough knows that if you're going to get evidence, you're going to get it.
Well, the darkness is just for the shows, so that it looks spookier, I think. And you can use some of the equipment. You can see the lights light up on everything. And
most of us have a day job, so you can't go investigating it. Right. But it is what it is.
You weed out more contamination at night.
You do.
Because people aren't up and around walking in cars and stuff like that.
Right. So. But during that session, I think Chris had quite a bit come across. I think he was using Vox, right?
Yeah, he was using
Yes.
several.
He
He
was
was
using
using
Vox.
the Ghost Tube box.
Yeah.
He
Right.
he loves that thing, and also the spirit. Is it the Spirit Wave or
Yeah.
Spirit Miracle
Yeah,
Box?
I
As
think
Berry Zap, right, or something like that.
Yeah,
yeah.
Berries, yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is
So
incredible,
yeah,
by
he had
the
some.
way.
Yeah, yeah, it really is.
And we hadn't used Vox really until we met Chris, and he was using it all the time. I was like, well,
Mhm.
maybe, there's
Yeah, Chris
something
and
to
I have
this
been
if he's
using them.
using it.
Yeah, we've been
Right.
using them on a lot of investigations that we do through his you know tours and stuff, and just
Mhm.
the stuff that we've gotten, it was just incredible. So we figured,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
and he happens to know, I guess, the people that develop these apps. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, there's no question. There's like a lot of these apps. They say, oh, they're pre-recorded stuff, or they listen to what you're saying, and you know, yeah. But I still think, like music comes over these apps, and it's
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
designed for that.
Yep.
Right.
When we come into almost every location we've been to, we've always, tried to incorporate the music option because that's unheard of,
Yeah.
and the results that we get, incredible.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And we actually picked some up this time. I think it was an organ music that
Yeah.
came across really quick.
Yeah, we did.
Mhm.
Like
But
church music.
Yeah.
yeah, it was like an
Mhm.
organ, pipe organ.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that he's using this thing and he's getting direct responses.
Mhm.
It's not like he's asking something and then, half hour later he gets a response that's somewhat similar. And this thing's pretty much just piping them out
Directly
one by
answering
one.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just
It's even answering his questions before he even asks the question.
yeah.
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 Well, I mean, and he
They know
had
what
to.
he's thinking
Well,
already.
yeah. I
And
mean, plus he
it's
has
a
such
good
a
point.
familiarity of it.
It just goes to shows that they're on another realm of thinking than we are,
Yes.
but they can read our
Right.
minds, which I think kind of
Mhm.
goes, in the whole territory where when we're sleeping, that's another form of communication we can have with
Right.
spirits. But yeah, it's just amazing. Sometimes in some of the investigations, I'll be thinking these questions in my head, and I'll get I'll get answers, but the other people don't
Hmm.
know, what I've been
Right.
asking. So
Right.
Yeah.
so
Well, and again, Chris's familiarity with the location helped too. I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
he
they remembered him.
had some. They absolutely did.
Almost every place we
Yeah, I
went,
mean, we went to
honestly.
all the places that had the show and that he did, that he was there. They all kind of said hi. And there were many times said hi, Chris.
Yeah. Or Chris, you're back, or something
Yeah.
to that effect. Yeah. Almost every location.
They
Mhm.
Yeah.
remembered him. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I've had that happen
It
to me
is.
too in Chicago. I did an investigation here at one of the old speakeasies at Al Capone, and a year to the date, I didn't know this, but a year to the date, I went to the crypt of the person that owned that speakeasy, and we were having an EVP session, and I asked it if it remembered me, and it said, "Oh, it's you guys again."
Hmm.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
But yeah, I mean, we're getting a lot of really cool stuff. And I know he made contact with some people that he had tried to cross over while he was there the last
Mhm.
time. And I know he was, there was some things that he wasn't happy to hear. I think a lot of them didn't cross over. And at the end, he was pretty frustrated because, some of
Huh.
them said they wanted to stay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all that being said, I think the biggest thing we want to kind of talk about is the EDI.
Yes.
And we released this as a
When we first
short
got
when we
back.
first got back.
Mhm.
So some of our audience may know it. But if you've ever, real quick on an EDI, if you've ever held one, first of all, they're not light. I mean, they're
Well, they're
fairly
pretty
heavy.
sturdy.
And they're rubberized. So the outside of it has like a rubberized case, for lack of better words, because of what it's actually used for, the non-paranormal use of it. That goes into some pretty rough areas. So they harden it and make it, to where it can handle some abuse. So, we have that out and we're kind of keyed in on it. But before we kind of get into the big
What happens?
what
Mhm.
happens, Alex, why don't you talk a little bit about where you were right before we started getting some of that evidence? Where were you standing and kind of what you were, I guess, experiencing?
I was kind of standing back towards it'd be the entrance of the room. There's a door right behind me. So I was standing right there, and above me was like I want to call it like a loft area. I don't know what you would call it, but
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
The entertainers area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was locked. Nobody could go back there, but we didn't know that at the time. Okay? So
Right.
keep that in mind. But I was just holding the cameras there, video recording the whole thing. I had several apps going, like the Ghost Tube Seer was going as well, and the Ghost Tube Box. So I think I had one of them. I also had on my ears, I had a bionic ear on. So it enhances every sound in the room. All right.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Sometimes it also captures, actual audio, EVP, like direct audio responses. It helps me a lot in some of these investigations. So
yeah, I bet.
Yeah. So that's basically what I was filming you guys and filming the session that Chris was having. So that's basically what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the fact that the door to this particular place is locked. Now, when we play some of this evidence, people are going to hear footsteps and people carrying on. Look, it was a big group.
Yeah.
And people were moving around. It is what
and
it is.
You can hear them from downstairs.
Right.
A lot stayed downstairs. Yeah.
Sure.
Or coming up the staircase. Yeah.
But this particular spot, nobody could get to, including us. Now, during this investigation, the way I'm seated is, and for those listening, I'm sorry, but I'll try to explain it as best as I can. So I'm seated, and up to my left is kind of where Alex is, and
the entertainer
the entertainer thing's kind of directly up to my left. Well, as we're going through this session, I kept hearing what sounded like was footsteps up there, right? And it was just like, okay, that's got to be, and I kept thinking to myself, that's just got to be other people, right? Other people in our group,
moving around, right?
Right, moving around. And I think during the recording, you can even see me a couple of times glance up until the event happened.
Yes. Yes.
So in the video, you're going to see that Chris is talking, and he's got his eyes closed. And the hand you're going to see is actually Mariah's, is a friend of the show.
Yeah, and it's her EDI.
Right, and it's her EDI.
She set it up on the arm of the chair right there.
Right. Now, guys, when I tell you that the floor of this place, I mean, we even looked afterwards, like we jumped around all over the place. The floor was not moving this EDI.
No.
Not to mention that it's sitting on an armrest that's wooden. And it's rubberized. So if you go up there, and anybody who's ever done that with a rubberized piece of equipment, there's not a ton of movement in it.
No.
And it's a heavy device. So it's not like somebody's walking around and it's going to bounce around and it's just going to fall.
Yeah.
Now, importantly, right before this thing moves, because there's a succession of things that happen.
Which I didn't know in the meantime.
Right. So the first thing that happens is on that upper left-hand entertainment center, we'll call it.
We're going to say the
loft.
The jester area.
We'll call it the
jester's area.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. But anyway, I hear thump, thump, thump. I hear footsteps.
Heavy.
And I'm like, okay, so right, very heavy.
Like thumping almost. It sounds like on the recording.
Right. And then that's when you noticed it too, right, Alex?
Yeah, I kind of like looked up, and then I looked at you looking up, and then I looked at I forgot her name standing behind you.
G
and Taylor.
Taylor,
yeah.
Taylor looked up as well too, and I without saying it out loud, I kind of looked at her. It's like, did you hear that? And she's like,
right.
And I'm like, okay. So I knew I wasn't going crazy.
I just don't remember so many consciousnesses last time I was here. I can feel all the different thoughts.
So I didn't touch it.
Okay. So I had my eyes closed, I didn't see it. He probably had it on camera, someone's got it on camera.
I do. It's rolling.
I'm very solid.
Can you see it?
Right. Well, while that's happening, the first movement of the EDI happens. And you can see it naturally just kind of rotate itself to the right.
Mhm.
Now,
That's not natural, though.
that is not
for a
natural
device.
movement. If it was going to fall, it would have just done it
Just-
all in one felt
Yeah,
swoop. It would have
in one
fallen.
fell
Fallen
swoop, yeah.
over.
But it kind of
Right,
like
something-
moved a little bit.
Right,
somebody was
something
Like
doing-
something
manipulates.
grabbed it and then
Yeah.
like moved.
Turned it a
Yes.
little bit.
And you see Mariah point.
Yeah,
you
she's
just
like,
see her finger point. What's
You're
going
right.
on? Yeah.
and then there was another thump
Mm-hmm.
that I looked up at that I caught the same time. And then right after that, completely, this thing just rotates and falls. Boom.
Yes. And we're like,
somebody just moving
whoa.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. And no, you can see it in the image and in the video. Nobody is next to this thing.
Mm-mm.
Nobody's walking around.
Right.
And Mariah's like, I didn't touch it.
Yeah, I didn't touch that. Well, nobody did. That's the thing.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
That was kind of one of those things where, I mean, Alex, you've been to tons of locations and done countless investigations. We've done,
Yeah.
it's one of those pieces of evidence that does not happen very often.
No. I mean, when something like that moves, I mean, I've only 2 instances that I know of, like a wheelchair moving at one of the locations that my friend investigated and lived at. And then the other one, again, that place I referenced earlier that we investigated, Melrose Park, was a speakeasy. And we're not the only group that experienced it as well, but it was a tire rim shop at the time we investigated, and they had a bunch of rims and tires storage down below in the basement. And this big, huge, heavy aluminum rim was thrown across the room.
Jeez.
Whoa.
And it hit the concrete and left a mark on the concrete and left a mark on the actual rim. That's happened to us while we were there. It was Chris was there, myself was there, the guys from A&D's Paranormal Cops were there, which are good friends of ours. And we were doing a special for an Italian paranormal TV show called Voyager. So they caught it on film, and you heard
Wow.
it too. When that thing hit, it's like, boom, it's like a bell ringing almost.
Well, yeah.
Right,
it's
yeah.
Very
So
loud.
the force
That's crazy.
to be able to do that, you can't comprehend that.
No.
No.
No, and even,
so, yeah,
and even like an EDI,
Yeah.
it's not light.
No.
I mean, granted, it's not a rim, but
yeah,
No.
right.
but it isn't. It is not a light piece of equipment, and the fact that you get two movements,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it's correlated with
The
sounds,
sounds.
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
footsteps. So
And
and
it's 666.
yeah, that's right. And on the EDI through most of the session, it's reading 666. Now, there are going to be members of the audience that don't necessarily buy into that, and I understand that, and that's okay. But it's also used for some of these will use it as a way to trick and a
Yeah,
way to
or
like kinda
intimidation.
intimidate, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't necessarily mean what 666 usually represents. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But this particular case, I think it was my impression anyway, that it was just kind of messing with us.
Mm-hmm. It was one of those
I know
that,
that, right.
Yeah.
And Alex, I know that you kind of thought too that there could have been, some potential of possession, things like that you're always worried about, especially with somebody like Chris, who's a sensitive that that not only does readings but channels and allows himself to go through that process.
Mhm.
yeah.
You always want to be somewhat cognizant of that.
So after that amazing experience, we're like, we haven't even gotten to
I
the
know.
big showstopper, right? So we're gonna go up the stairs and we're not even sure what to expect. We're going up these windy stairs,
Yeah.
and it's dark, and I hear the door creak because Chris is, in front of us, and I hear the door creak. I'm like, I know where
Yeah. And it's a total like,
we are. And we get up there and walk through, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
my breath just dropped because I was like, we're here.
yeah, that song in my head came in because I'm like, oh my God, this is the bloody chapel.
And it was somewhat of a cooler day.
It
up there.
was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And
it
so
was.
and you can just hear the wind
Howling.
whistling up there, and it's and part of this, it starts raining on us,
Mhm.
and you can hear because the roof is like a tin type roof,
Mhm.
So you can hear it whistling through there, and these windows are huge. There's no glass on them.
Nope.
So you can literally look out there, and you can see across the entire countryside.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. And I'm like taking pictures. And of course, I talked about, finding, I was like, where's the oubliette? And Chris was talking about things that he experienced when he was there, about seeing this elemental thing right up there above the door. And so he was talking about that a bit, and we'll play some of the video here, of us experience just walking around at first. We were all just kind of taking it in right there in the beginning. Chris did some EVP and was using the app thing, and there were some things that came across, nothing huge. But this next part, we're going to talk with Alex, I thought was pretty interesting. So Chris is basically asking to manifest, who we're talking to.
Mhm.
And so we get this photo that comes up on the seer. Alex, can you tell us what that first photo was?
Yeah, it was a picture of an actual castle, which came up. But the strange thing was that he was asking itself to manifest what it looked like. So,
Right.
but then this castle came up. And we're like, okay, well, it's a castle. You don't look like a castle. But he still kept that. We still kept with it. And we're like, he's like, please manifest it. Show us what you look like. What you look like. And this, of course, the seer came up again with the picture of what looked like a king with the crown.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, because we're expecting like some sort of gruesome creature looking thing,
Right.
Right.
in my mind's eye. That's what I'm trying to picture. But
Mhm.
we're like, okay, so we're children. We're like,
So now this photo, we get this photo of a king, right?
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, well, yeah, this is old. And at this point, I didn't know the history necessarily of the castle.
Right.
So I went back into some of the history, and I'm thinking, okay, Ireland didn't really have kings per se,
No.
because England ruled over them and they had a
Mhm.
king, but they had this other, like these chieftains and
Right.
stuff like that. So they would
It
have
was
been
more like a
seen.
tribal
Yes.
kind
Um, but what's interesting about this is that this man named John O'Carroll was the one that actually built Lep.
Mhm.
Okay. And that clan was ruled by the princes of Eli.
Okay.
Okay. Princes, right? Specifically, the O'Carroll clan were powerful Gaelic chieftains who ruled the kingdom of Eli. The name Eli derives from Eile, which was a 5th century prince, and the territory spanned regions of present-day Tipperary and Offaly, which is where Lep is located,
Yes, it is.
stretching to the Sleeve Bloom Mountains, which that whole territory was, covered by the O'Carroll clan. That was
Mhm.
their property. Now, John died of the plague, but his son, Mulrooney O'Carroll, was renowned for his strength, bravery, and valor, and was considered a great leader. He ruled for 42 years and is believed to have died at Lep in 1532. So, if they were considered themselves princes of Eli, these big chieftains,
Mhm.
right? That's sort of like
It's king
royalty.
It's royalty.
It's like
in a way,
royalty.
yeah.
And if this son ruled for 42 years,
Yeah.
that's a very long
This is a
time for
very
back
long
then.
time.
So could it be a possibility that, as Chris is asking about this, who are we speaking to? Who's here? Who's here? Who's here? And they show us a picture of this older man, and
Mhm.
that's the thing, is it's an older, long-haired, gray-haired man, not a young guy, with a crown.
Right.
Could that mean I was a ruler that was here
Absolutely.
for a long time? That's just kind of how I took it, and that was the
Mhm.
best way for them to communicate, like, this is who I am. That doesn't mean at all that this is this person.
No, it doesn't. It's just a piece
But
of
when-
evidence.
But for the history, unless they're talking about, oh, I'm a member of the O'Carroll clan, or I'm a member of the Darby family that ruled over this, it could have meant that. It's all up to interpretation. I just thought it was interesting that in the history, I found this one O'Carroll clan, because they, covered this entire area.
Right.
And they were known as the Princes of Ely, which was like a form of royalty. And this
Mhm.
one specifically ruled for 42 years. And he showed himself as an old man. So if you rule for 42 years, that means you're at least 52 when you die, at least.
Eef.
I mean, or 62 probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Most
But I
likely.
mean, well, they would start him young back then, ruling countries. So it could have been. But
Come here, boy.
at the very least, he'd have to be 52, 56 years
Yeah.
old,
Yeah.
And for back then, that was old
Yeah,
for a
that's-
man.
Feels
you know?
old now.
Well, specifically back then, it was more like 70.
Yeah. True.
So, I mean, it's just up to interpretation, but I thought that was interesting. I do want to include this because when this comes up, this picture about this king, and Chris is asking about it, well, who is this king? No, none of us caught it at the time. We do get a name. So we're going to play this and we'll talk about it.
Through an image, through it, yeah.
Ghost up.
Ghost. It's a king. That's a king.
Is it freaky now?
Is there a king that was here?
Oh, is it freaky that's a king?
Okay, so they say the name Edward,
Mm-hmm.
which I found weird because, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. There's Edwards as kings of England, but not at the time period for this.
Mm-hmm.
Now there was a child king named King Edward the Fourth, I think it was, but he ruled for like this long, like this little bitty amount of time, and he was a child.
It's a little Eddie.
But it's weird that they said Edward.
It is.
So, with England ruling over Ireland, does this mean, we weren't rulers of this castle, some England ruled us, and that's what they were? I don't know. Or some other spirit was coming and talking about, oh, that looks like a picture of King Edward. Who knows? I just found it interesting, got the name Edward, because that's a very well-known king name.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't associate with Lep necessarily.
Right.
But I wanted to mention it because it was clear as a bell. We didn't hear it at the time, but I heard it afterwards.
Always happens when you're not paying attention.
Yeah, said Edward. So I don't know. But those are just interpretations of what we got there with the king picture. I thought it was pretty interesting that we got a castle and then we got a pink picture of a king.
Yeah.
So who knows? And maybe there was an Edward thrown in there somewhere. We don't know. Could have been an Edward O'Carroll.
I mean, for sure.
Yeah, Edward Darby. And that for actually more so because they were English. So
That's probably more than likely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So those are all the chew on that if you want. But I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the castle is interesting. Like, I'm the spirit of this castle.
Right.
That's the only thing I could think of, like why they would show the castle.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm the spirit of this castle. So I
Right.
don't have a form. I'm just this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is interesting, and the Seer app does its best to kind of
Interpret
what they're trying to convey. So who knows what that would have really meant, like what they were trying to say with the man sitting on the bench, but
or it could just be several different spirits trying to
True.
come through. All
That
three
could have
of
been.
those could have been different
Right.
spirits, which is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and what's great about that session is we kind of moved around quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
We were trying to get some EVP work, well, not EVP, but goes to Vox, and we heard some things, and we kind of covered a little bit of, when we first walked in, he was kind of going through what they should. Try that again. When we walked in, he was sort of showing us what they did in the show. But what's great is that we started talking about the section where Dustin Perry was pushed down.
Yeah.
And that is extremely important to what we're getting to now.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys moved to that section, and I'm holding the camera and I'm recording everything. Well, while I'm doing that, you guys are talking about well, the stuff that came up on the Seer app and a few other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know Chris was talking about, we're going to pray for you, things like that. Just trying to be, usher them into a better place and be respectful. Is that kind of what you remember too, Alex?
Yeah.
And specifically, we moved over that corner.
Yeah.
Because this huge storm came up.
Enormous storm.
And that wind was just howling through those windows, and it was raining really hard, and it was cold.
It was
I got really cold, and we couldn't even hear ourselves, which is why we kind of moved back to this corner.
Right. So we're tucked up in this corner.
Very close to the Oubliette, by the way.
Very close to the Oubliette. And my back is to one of the open windows, if you want to call it archways.
Yeah.
And what happens is something that I think to this day is one of the best. It's not an EVP. This was a direct voice phenomenon. This happened right then and there. As we're talking, I hear right behind me, I thought was a growl.
We will pray for you, okay? I don't believe in sin.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like, right?
Is that when we asked you and you said, she wants to pray for you? And then if that's...
What was that?
Yeah.
Is that a growl? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I just thought it was...
Is that a growl?
Yeah, that's exactly what that was.
Does anybody else have a recorder going?
I mean, this.
Okay, so that would pick it up.
Yeah.
So we can analyze that.
And I thought it was just me. I thought maybe I'd heard something. I have ringing in my ears. I don't have the best hearing anyway. I thought maybe I was just picking up something. And then Chris turns around and goes, "Did you hear that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what the hell was that?"
We all heard it.
We all heard it. And at the time, I think most of us just thought it was a growl.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you guys are going to hear and get to see this, but it was so much more than a growl.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. It was a full-throated scream.
Yeah.
And you made the point of what it sounded like to you.
Yeah, well, when I listened to it back and I went over it, I'm like, it sounds like the scream is moving.
Mm-hmm.
So like a falling sound. And specifically because it came from outside of the window and we were up, that would be probably 3 floors up.
Yeah.
There's history of that castle of people falling. So I just found it really interesting. It was off to that left side, and underneath that, and we'll put some of these pictures up here. I had actually taken pictures outside of Lep up there, and the wind was really strong, and I was like holding onto my phone for dear life, but I wanted these pictures, so I had my phone stuck out the window. I'm like, I'm gonna lose this at Lep Castle because these winds are like tearing through. But I held on really tight, and I got these pictures. So the dilapidated part of the castles are all on these other sides. And that's what's down there. So I'm even thinking, if it was part of our group or somebody was out, but nobody would have been outside during that storm.
No.
For one, and they couldn't access that area.
Right.
But yeah, it just sounded like a falling scream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex, you like me kind of approach things from a very, and I know Nicole does too, but we're all kind of skeptical at first. We try to disprove before we prove anything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Walk me through the debunking and how possible and plausible it would be that somebody would be out there screaming.
I, for one, wouldn't want to be out in the rain, especially, when I'm
not that rain.
I'm sorry. I'm a fair weather investigator. Sorry, but,
me too.
I mean, first thing you want to do is we look out there, where could it have come from? I mean, the only thing I saw out there was a cow.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
that
and
was
I think
the cow.
I think I asked you at one point, you think it was the cow? No, dude, it's not the cow.
No, wait. What I heard, I'm like, if that was the cow, nobody should eat anything from that cow. That cow
is diseased.
The cow needs some serious help.
My other thing I was going to ask him too is like if he had a burrito ahead of time, but I doubt that either too. So, you with your stomach.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I was hungry, but no, I mean, if I projected my stomach that loud or everybody heard it over the storm,
visit the hospital.
Yeah, we would have been in trouble. But no, it was just crazy because that storm rolled in and all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
It just, it really does
like
kind of prove that. Right.
Yes.
It proves that point of that perpetual energy, and then it kind of feeds into that the need for them to have the energy to manifest. And again, we talked a little bit about it with the EDI. We've all done this and been some places, and I've heard plenty disembodied voices, and we've got plenty EVPs, but I think that may be the most clearest, direct,
Yes, for me.
disembodied. I
Mhm.
don't even call it a voice. It was a complete tragic scream.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you think on that, Alex?
I think it's residual, to tell you the truth. It could have been maybe somebody, because there is, like I said, tragic history where people are either murdered or pushed off the tower or
Yeah.
into the, what do you call it?
Oubliette.
Oubliette.
That's what I was thinking. Yes.
Right.
Because that's what it could have probably sounded like, muffled,
When
kind
they-
of like.
Yes.
But it sounded like it came from outside. So,
Yeah,
but
precisely.
yeah, I think that was definitely a residual,
Yeah.
that we caught.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had thought the same thing of because we were so close to the oubliette, if it hadn't come from behind us, but that would have been because they fell to their deaths.
Yeah, they
in that
did.
thing. So and they
Sometimes
left them there.
they would jump head first just so they would make sure they died and
Yeah.
not have to suffer that long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Lep Castle, guys. I mean,
Who knows?
who knows? It pretty much checked every block within. I mean, we were only there a few hours.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it did
no,
not
well,
disappoint.
No, did
No.
not
At all.
disappoint at all. What are some of your final thoughts with the place, Alex?
Well, they've always said, that Lep Castle is probably one of the most haunted castles in Ireland, if not the world. And
Yeah.
it did not disappoint. Yeah, like you said. I
Agreed.
go in there with, skeptical and with an open mind, and I wasn't expecting anything, but the stuff that we were getting as far as direct responses, EVPs, direct audio phenomena. I mean, the only thing that was left was for somebody to be touched or pushed or anything like that, which thank God didn't have
Right.
it. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially up there.
yeah.
I'm glad that Chris walked away from that without
Yeah.
getting hurt because I was a little concerned about that.
However,
Yeah.
later that night, when we went back to Kennedy Castle, obviously
Yeah.
some stuff happened to some people. So who knows?
Yeah, that place
Yep.
was
Maybe we're
nuts.
connected.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was, we barely breezed over in the last episode, but
Mhm.
we wish we'd have done more stuff there, but God, that place was crazy haunted too.
Mm-hmm.
It was just insane. And, and you've got your romper room that you had. I mean,
Yeah.
we could have done an investigation in there.
I'll tell you, when I first got in there, I was like, I knew this place was haunted and stuff. And you told me about it and then everything. And a lot of the places that we stayed at, I didn't really expect to get a lot of sleep. I had the best sleep in Ireland that I've ever had at some of these locations.
Really?
Yes.
Not me.
Which is kind of weird because, like I said, I did not expect to get any sleep, and I did. And I tell you, I set up my room because I didn't want things to move. So I closed the curtains. I slept with the TV on. I had the light on in the bathroom. I closed the door a little so I didn't see the mirror, and put even in front of the there's a dresser there that had mirrored doors. I put the chair in front so that the doors wouldn't open, just in case. I mean, I'm just thinking worst case scenario here, And
Right.
as soon as I hit that pillow, boom, I was in La La Land. I was out.
Well, we were all pretty busy, so we were so tired. I mean, if it hadn't been
Yeah.
for what was going on in our room, I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, listen, Alex, I'm glad you stopped by, man. We wanted to have somebody else kind of corroborate some of the stuff that happened because the evidence that we got is one of those where, it's going to be picked apart. People will go, well, it could be this, it could be that. That's fine. But, the three of us all were there. We all experienced this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if we got anybody else in that room or that area, they would have said the same thing. We all witnessed it.
There's many of us that heard that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
saw the EDI fall.
And saw the EDI fall.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I got to think that, I'm with you, Alex. It's got to be, if not the most haunted, it's got to be up there.
It's my top two.
Yeah, it's in the top two. One of which is on the same trip.
Yes, it is.
And we're
Yes,
talking
it
about
is.
that eventually here. But yeah,
Well,
again,
you guys are going to Scotland, so who knows? More castles,
yeah.
I
You
know.
can ask the
Yeah.
spirits
Who's
about
going to win
that.
out there? I don't know.
We'll see. You know, we got another type of a little bit of a different one. We're gonna do a lot of investigating, and I'm curious to see, you know, with Greg and with Ryan, kind of their process. We already know, we've known them and we've done investigations with them, but we've never really done one in Scotland with them. So this will
know, I'm so excited.
This will be fun.
It's going to be epic. Yep.
But anyway, Alex, thanks again for stopping by and kind of,
thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for picking this apart with us. And you know, I think in the future we'll probably do some investigating, and you know, we'll probably do something in the future.
You guys come back up here. You guys come back to the Chicagoland area. You know, I do tours in Naperville. You know, not a lot of people know.
Yeah.
Naperville is about 30 miles outside of Chicago, west suburbs. You know, one of the most haunted cities I've ever investigated. A lot of history too. So people out there, you know, Ghost Tours in Naperville, look it up with Kevin Franz. I'm the co-host and lead investigator.
Guys.
Those tours run, you know, September through October. And then I do my Chicago Haunted Gangster Tour. So
I want to do that.
Yeah, we need to come up for that. That would be really cool to check out.
Yeah, we did an episode, but it was mainly me on the Valentine's Day Massacre. So it'd be
back in the wee days.
Back in the day.
The podcast.
And you definitely need to come up, because I have what I did was go to the grave sites of where all these gangsters are and victims and they say dead men don't tell tales. Let me tell you, they do. All right.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, you know, even Al Capone said himself who ordered the hit or who did it.
Yeah.
So, and I've got it all on EVP, and that's part of my tour, you know, so I tell people, keep an open mind. These are EVPs, you know, straight from the source. You know, there are a lot of theories out there, but, you know, try to put two and two together and make up your own mind.
Awesome.
That's cool. That's
we'll definitely have to go check that out, man. But
we'll attach all the information here.
Yeah, we'll get that in there,
so
and
people can check that out.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. Well, again, sir, thank you very much,
Thank you
and
so much.
we look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Have fun.
All right. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's great to have you on, and it may not be the last time you hear from him.
I'm going to guess no.
No. So we finished that, you know, we go back downstairs, and I think that was when, you know, May and Sean are, because he's a musician, by the way, and so is May.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So that was really cool. And then we start to leave. Everybody, we got to start, you know, leaving to go to the bus. And I hang back a little bit because, honestly, to be honest, there were several of us that needed to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
We've been there for a while, and we're like, oh, we're going to be in the bus again for how many? Probably at least a half an hour.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm like, okay. So there, we took turns. And there was a point there that it was just me and Mariah and Alex left. And it was really cool because everybody had left. And I was talking to the Ryans, and I got to walk back and see the plant area with all the glass. It was really, really cool. But after everyone left, it was so quiet in there. And I was like, this is where you hear stuff. No wonder they probably hear things. Because all I could hear were the birds outside, like cawing. And I'm like, this is so cool. How, like, I'm thinking, like, we're getting ready to leave, and the Ryans are going to be left there just by themselves with their cat. And I'm like, to live in this place.
I know.
How fascinating would that be? And, you know, even thinking about going up and down those stairs, because there was little rooms off to the side we didn't see. And I'm like, that's where they go to
That's
sleep.
their bedrooms, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking at their age, how they don't fall down those stairs. Like, there's no getting up in the middle of the night to go get a drink of water.
No, you're camped in.
So, like, once you're there for the night.
I know.
But no wonder people hear stuff in that castle. But I was just like, I was taking in the silence, and I could hear. It was just like, whoa, this is so cool.
And it makes you think, like, you know, people who do these investigations and these tours and everybody that go there, we kick up a lot of crap.
Yeah, and then what happens to them after we leave?
It's like, great. Now let me just sit here in my castle while, all the ghosts and entities calm down for a while. And then, potentially an elemental. And
But I think they've got a good relationship with
yeah,
them.
I think they do. Yeah.
That's what it is. But it's just like, I can't imagine that being the place where I live.
True.
That's so cool. It's just so cool. But
Yeah.
I mean, it was just the three of us. And then we were the last ones to walk out of Lep. And because of that, when we went out the front, there was nobody standing in front of the castle. So I got the best pictures that I got of the castle because there was no one there. And it was quiet because most of the people had gone back to the bus. So it was just Mariah and Alex and I and Chris. And you could just hear the birds and looking up, and it had rained by that point. So the clouds are real thick, and it's just like, I was just like, I just want to sit here until nightfall and just feel this place, because I guarantee you it changes.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that 100%. I mean, we've been places where in the
You feel
daytime
it.
it's okay, but at night you're like, oh crap.
Now, I do know Lep offers you can actually stay there. So we're gonna have to go back because I wanna experience that. So if you guys are interested and you make it over to Ireland, you for sure should just go over. They will. I mean, you just contact Sean Ryan and you can come tour the castle. They allow that. So that's something you can just do. But you can also stay the night. And you can also investigate it.
If you dare.
I so want to go back and do it. Like,
yeah, I know.
Now that I've done it once, I'm like, and what we captured, especially in the Bloody Chapel and what happened, I still cannot believe we caught that.
No.
Because I remember after we left, everybody's like, oh, we got to see if we caught that.
Yeah,
we got to see if we caught that. We got to see if we caught that. And you could hear it.
Oh, it's plain as day.
Oh, and it was so loud in the moment, I remember. And all I can think is like, is it, and then we know about the little girl. It didn't sound like a girl, though. It sounded like a man.
Definitely male.
It sounded like a man falling. So is it residual of the brother? Remember they had to jump off the rocky outcrop?
Yep.
Is it that? Is it residual of somebody falling down into the oubliette? Is it just the fighting and the killing that went on during the dinners and stuff like that? I mean,
with the history of that place, it's anybody's guess at that point.
I will go to my own grave saying it sounds like a fall.
Oh, no question.
Like a screaming fall.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Like when we were standing there, it didn't necessarily, like I know there was a lot of people that thought, oh, it sounds like a growl.
I didn't.
Never thought it sounded like a growl, but I know Chris thought it sounded like a growl. But we had all that heavy rain at the same time. Like the storm had kicked up, which is interesting to me that all that energy kicked up and then we got the scream. So I don't know. But listening to it back, it is just, I think it's the best piece of evidence we've ever captured.
The EDI was great. But
but that's just I'm sorry, that's just a box falling over. To me, catching a screaming voice of somebody
chapel
outside of the Bloody Chapel.
True. Well, they were going outside.
At Lep Castle in Ireland.
It's hard to beat that.
It's going to be hard to beat it.
I know.
No, I think Scotland might.
Maybe.
Speaking of, 2 tickets are left. There's only 2 tickets left to the Secret Ireland tours with Ryan O'Neill and Haunted Scotland in October 1st through the 9th. So, if you were thinking about it and you were on the fence, there are only 2 left.
Get off the fence and join us.
Yes, it's going to be amazing. Ryan and Greg are amazing with Haunted Scotland. It's going to be I'm not going to say the word amazing again. That's too many amazings, but it will be that amazing.
It's so amazing.
It's so amazing. We're going to go to a lot of castles and historic sites that, if you love Outlander, as I do, you'll recognize those. But just in the history of Scotland, and I know they have some surprises for us.
Yes, they do.
Which they are very excited about. And there's going to be some really cool people on this trip, ourselves included.
Yeah, I like to think we're cool.
Yeah, we're cool.
Yeah, we're hip.
Yeah.
One thing to end on, kind of on a funny note,
Yeah.
it's a lived-in property, right?
What? Lep?
Lep.
Yes.
There's Amazon and FedEx and all that stuff, right?
Well, yeah.
What do you think they think of when they go up to that place?
Well, it's Ireland, so they probably do a lot of that.
Well, I guess. But it would be pretty freaky. Like, get it.
Well, Amazon, all they do is they drop it on the front step, so it's not
That's
really.
true. Well,
They're really
that's a good
doing much.
point.
They're not going in.
Yeah.
But like if they hire house cleaners or something,
I
like that's
know.
what I think about is like you just
Yeah.
like going up and down those stairs with like a mop. No way.
No.
Because that's the thing. It's dark because there's no windows and like we're feeling the sides of the wall going up it, and it's just like those stairs are so old that they're now curved.
It's just wild.
They're no longer
Yeah.
a rectangle; they are curved. And I always think about this in historic places anyway, but especially now, like especially really old places, like whose feet have touched these stairs
geez.
before me? They're so worn down. It's just so,
The energy
for me,
from the
it's
stairs
so,
alone.
so cool to
Yeah.
think about how many people and who could have possibly gone up and down those stairs.
Yeah.
Could it be somebody, one of my relations from way back when was there at some point in time? And that's just really cool to think about.
Yeah.
Hopefully not one of the people that killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, no kidding. Jeez.
None of those names match any of my history. But
Yeah.
so,
Well-
and I do wonder after, the history talking about how they killed a bunch of O'Neills, I wonder how Ryan felt. I need to ask him that question.
We can.
Being there, if that he felt off, because he's got the Irish O'Neill blood.
It sure
So
does.
that's interesting. So that's
Yeah.
a question for you, Ryan.
Let us know.
Yes.
But guys, this was Lep Castle. We were waiting a long time for this. This was a big one. It's a big lead up.
Mhm.
We weren't sure how we're going to do it, but we're so glad that you're able to enjoy it with us. Let us know what you think. And guess what, guys? We got 2 left.
Only two.
2
locations.
2 locations.
2 locations left.
But
Yeah.
the last one may be a double episode.
Oh, it's going to be a double.
Oh.
It's going to be a double. But we still got surprises coming up for you, so stick with us. It's been so much fun doing these Irish episodes of our experiences, and next year we'll have all the Scotland ones. So
Yeah.
we're so excited to bring in them. We hope that you're enjoying these as
Yeah.
much as we are making them
Mm-hmm.
for you. So
Absolutely.
we're going to leave you with that.
Yeah. And
Lep Castle.
Lep Castle. If you're in Ireland,
Amazing.
you go. You just go.
Mm-hmm.
You
12
just
out of 10 as a rating.
12 out of 10.
12 out of 10. So thank you guys. We will be back next week with a very special location.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. And it's a good one and it's a fun one.
It
You'll
is a
like this
fun one.
It's a fun
It's a
one.
very fun one.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But other than that, guys, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.